Hello, and welcome back. My name is Kendra Moore, and this is the final wrap up to my blog. In this segment, I will be talking about how I implemented assessment with my kids at the end of the school year and throughout the school year, and how I was able to really analyze and assess that data. To strengthen my analysis of student learning, I will focus on one major project, the PSA, the Public Service Announcement Assignment. In this project, students were required to research relevant issues, write a script using a provided graphic organizer, and create a short multimedia PSA that clearly communicated their message to an audience. This project took at least 2 weeks. I collaborated with the media specialists so that we can use real mics for our podcast and for our PSAs. And we had to schedule dates in time so that the students can actually go to the media center to actually have rooms where they can record their PSAs and their podcasts. So it took a lot of organization. The rubric measured key areas including organization, clarity of their message, use of evidence to support their message, and the depth of their analysis. When examining students' performance, rubric based data showed a difference in strengths and areas for growth. For an example, 18 out of 24 students met or exceeded expectation for organization, demonstrating that most students were able to structure their PSA with a clear introduction, body, and conclusion. However, only 11 out of 24 students met expectations for the depth of their analysis. So, that explanation piece, that expounding part, indicating that many students struggled to move beyond the basic explanation and fully develop their ideas with strong evidence and reasoning. This is where the graphic organizer piece truly came into play. Also, having sentence stems embedded into the graphic organizers help the students to structure their sentences so that they can really convey what they were trying to say to the audience. This suggests that while students understand how to build a structured product, they need more support in developing deeper critical thinking and analysis. A new strategy that we took on this year to help with this explanation piece is Say Mean Matter, where the students have to fully expound on what the text says. What does this mean, and why does it matter? This truly proved to be an effective strategy this year, especially when we calibrated a lot of our students' essays at the end of the year to analyze some of their strengths, some of their growths. To improve the effectiveness of my rubric, however, I plan to make two specific revisions. First, I will split the organization category into smaller components, such as perhaps a logical sequencing and clarity of transitions, so students can better understand what strong organization looks like. Second, I will add clear examples of what proficient performance looks like for each category, particularly for depth of analysis, so students have a concrete model to guide their work. Hopefully, these changes will make the rubric much more transparent and actionable for my students, helping students better understand expectations and improve both their organization and analytical thinking skills. There's one other challenge at the end of the year this year that made collecting data and our analysis a little difficult, and that was losing most of our data through an application called Canvas. Many of my rubrics were saved and created in this platform for my students so that they can have access to these rubrics. And the platform was completely taken over, and we were not able to use it at the end of the year. And so this created a challenge because I lost a lot of my students' data, a lot of my students' work, the podcast, the PSA. Many of the projects that my students turned in were no longer available nor accessible to them nor myself. And so this made data collection very difficult. as well as uploading a physical copy of any rubrics that my students actually used this year. I am fortunate enough to have already graded most of these assignments that my students completed. And so I'm able to speak to their work and their growth. However, I am not able to present fully in detail some of the instruction that my students received for these projects because it has been erased on Canvas.